There are 10 different critical strategies that apply against that framework, including increasing the earned income tax credit that are available to individuals and families, public sector and employer benefits. A lot of time, folks don't know what they're eligible for or don't know how to access what they're eligible for. Third, how do we help folks access mainstream banking and financial services in the country so they're not relegated to high-fee, predatory type financial services across the country? And how do we increase financial literacy and financial education? Again, the whole idea here is a sequence that starts with help folks get more income, help them save more of that income, and then finally gain assets with that, which then does, as all the evidence points to, lead to better quality of life. The end goal is for more families not just to avert financial crisis, but make their way through that kind of sequence and get themselves where they've got choices in their lives. The issues are beyond the scope of any one organization, as I've said, and to this point we've partnered with a lot of you here in this room: the Ford Foundation, the Casey Foundation, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Office of Community Services and HHS, CFED, and way too many more to name. But again, it's the point overwhelming that we know is that we've got to do this together. No one organization, no one institution is going to make progress against getting a savings rate into the positive again or getting folks along that continuum to self-sufficiency. As I said, I think personally, and our experience would teach us, that United Way is most effective when we work with different interests to try to advance the common good in a community. And in order to do that, we think one of the things we've learned over time is, as you've heard in the video, we've got to put concrete stakes in the ground. Not just conceptually what do we mean by this, but what commitment are we willing to make as an institution with as much scale and scope as we have. So before I introduce our speakers this morning, let me lay out 4 goals that we're committing ourselves to as a United Way movement over the next 5 years. In 2006, United Ways, the 1,300 United Ways across the country invested $1 billion in financial self-sufficiency programs and services. Our commitment over the next 5 years is to increase that by 50% to $1.5 billion in funding of smart, effective programs that start to build financial stability and independence. Second is to build and increase the amount of money that's being pulled back down into communities through the Earned Income Tax Credit. Nationally, 25% of all eligible families don't claim their EITC. This year alone, in 33 communities where we partnered with the funding from Bank of America, 200,000 families claim the Earned Income Tax Credit at a United Way supported volunteer site. The total returns that could be invested back into those communities is over $200 million. Our 1-year commitment is to double the number of returns to 400,000 tax returns next year and $500 million in 50 major markets across the country. And by 2012, 1 million returns and $1 billion reinvested in those communities. Third goal is to get those folks that are not banking through mainstream financial services to get banked. The overall percentage of American households that are unbanked, according to the Federal Reserve, is 10%. For low-income household earning less than $25,000 a year, it's 22%. 46% of African Americans and 34% of Hispanic Americans don't have an account at a federally insured financial institution. So our 1-year goal is to reduce by 10% the number of unbanked households earning less than $25,000, and the 5-year goal is to reduce by 50% the number of unbanked households earning less than $25,000 a year. And finally, the 4th goal is to integrate the use of technology to expand our reach. And before I announce that goal, let me announce a really exciting partnership that was made possible through the work that we did with IBM and a task force of local United Ways to identify a technology partner to support the advancement of this initiative. That partner is Nets to Ladders, an Austin-based technology firm committed to transforming the social services sector through business innovation. In that quest, they've already committed $7 million in the Benefits Enrollment Network Software, or BEN. We're pleased to announce that in addition to that investment, they've committed an additional $5 million over the next 2 years to support the Financial Stability Partnership. Partnering with Next to Ladders will enable local United Ways and their community partners across all 50 states to identify, screen, and enroll potentially millions of people who have earned but are not yet accessing income-boosting benefits. Additionally, this partnership will help ensure that households of low to moderate income individuals and their families gain access to mainstream financial services, which is the gateway to building savings and gaining assets. So in the next year, we'll target 20 states working with local United Ways to make sure that those United Ways in those 20 states will be able to screen and electronically apply for federal and state benefits with the goal of increasing enrollment by 25% of all eligible beneficiaries. And that within 2 years, all United Ways will have the ability to electronically screen and enroll individuals for benefits that they may not know that they're eligible for. One of the things that we've talked a lot about at United Way, locally and nationally, and with our partners, is that it's important to get clarity on the issue itself around financial instability and the lack of financial independence of families. It's maybe even more important to actually act on it. And you know, you're immobilized sometimes when you look at some of the numbers we look at, but we think it's important, again, with a network this large and this expansive across the country, that we've got to say to ourselves, it's not about incremental increase in social services. Social services, in our view, needs to get back to where it belongs in the social contract, which is temporarily helping those that aren't succeeding economically and get back to defining success as the ability to sustain yourself or sustain your family and making sure that government and private services are there to support you along the way. That's the commitment that we've made with this financial stability partnership.